Awesome. Okay. Again, my name is Jay Franklin. My pronouns are he, him, his. Associate Director of New Student Family Programs. A little bit about me is I'm actually a product of Cal State San Marcos. I got my undergrad in human development and my master's in education. I literally have watched the campus grow since 2005. I did leave for about a year and a half to work for a for-profit institution, and was recruited to come back to Cal State San Marcos in 2009. I served over a decade of work in extended learning, the revenue generating self-support unit of Cal State San Marcos. And this topic this evening is fraternity and sorority life. And given that I am certainly not the expert in fraternity and sorority life, we have here this evening Christian, Kaylee, and Yetunde. I'm just going to turn this over to them. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Jay. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Christian, he, him pronouns. I am the coordinator of fraternity and sorority life. And I have two students here, Kaylee and Yetunde, helping me with the presentation to give their experience as well as a student perspective. So Jay, if you can, please share the screen with the PowerPoint. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so again, good evening. Thank you for attending this webinar, Fraternity Sorority Life, to learn more a little bit of our community and what we can provide to the students on campus. I think just a quick plug, similar to Jay, I am a product of Cal State San Marcos. I'm an alumni, graduated back in 2016. That's like 2017. I also helped establish a fraternity here on campus. So I am very proud of that, also serving as a first generation student. And so I think to me that's really important to share because it shows the powerful thing that fraternity for life can do to an individual student to really provide that experience for them. It also provided me the ability to have a sense of belonging on campus while I was there. Now that I almost 7 years later have been able to come back and serve in this role to support and elevate the community. And so I would not be here really if it wasn't for the community that I was able to join during my time in undergrad. So if you can click next, please. Just a quick overview of our today's session. We will talk a little bit about our community in regards to fraternity and sorority life. We will also talk about the requirements to join on campus, along with the benefits of becoming a member of an organization here. And then I'll have Kaylee and Yetunde really speak about their experience and what they have learned throughout their time, as they both are also graduating in the spring semester. So sad for them to leave, but happy that they've been able to have an impact to their community and their chapters. The other part, so sorry, before we keep going, if you all have questions throughout the time, feel free to just, raise your hand or put it on the chat. We're also happy to answer questions at the very end as well, if nothing was specific during the PowerPoint. So just a quick info about Fraternity Sorority Life. So we are actually housed under the Student Leadership and Involvement Center. And so our mission within Student Leadership and Involvement Center is really to provide the experience for students to get involved, such as sports clubs, Greek life, leadership programs, any other type of clubs that you might think of, religious, academic based. And if we don't have the club on campus, they can also start a new organization. And that is part of our mission and vision to really support the student engagement and involvement experience. The mission is right there of our office, and really to help them build their opportunities to get engaged on campus, but also the Tukwut experience. And the Tukwut experience is really something that we try to emphasize of providing events and programs to students, in the evenings, on the weekends, whenever possible. We understand that our campus is unique when it comes to the amount of students that commute to campus, the amount of students that live in the area, but also the ability to still engage as much as they can. The next part, even though I am the direct coordinator of Fraternity Sorority Life, so I oversee all of our chapters and students in that realm, we do have 4 professional staff within SLIC, that is the acronym for Student Leadership and Involvement Center. Michaela oversees our leadership programs, and so she really provides the ability for students to develop their leadership skills in various avenues. Tyler is our coordinator of student involvement, so he oversees all of our student organizations. And then again, I oversee our fraternity and sorority groups with Tony Pang as our director, our fearless leader who supports us in every avenue as possible. So throughout the night, you might hear some terms that you may not really know. You might know about it. These are some common terms that are utilized from our students, but also utilized within the language that we communicate with. So councils are really our governing bodies for specific organizations. Those organizations follow certain policies, practices based on the needs of those organizations. We talk about recruitment and intake. That's really just the time period that people go through in the beginning of the semester to join an organization. Some chapters call it intake. It is similar to a recruitment effort. It just depends on the organization as well. FSL is just an acronym that we use. It's Fraternity and Sorority Life. We also call it Greek Life. A chapter is interchangeable word. Chapter, organization, really just depends on sometimes what we talk about. And then deferred recruitment, some folks may not know what deferred really stands for, but deferred just means that we do require specific units GPA before a freshman can join their first year. So that means that most freshman students cannot join until their second semester, so that way they can meet the requirements that we have. After that, folks can join whenever they prefer, either fall or spring semesters. So on our campus, we have 4 current governing councils. We are growing, hopefully having a 5th council next year, academic year in the fall. The 4 councils that we have are the Greek Leadership Council, our Interfraternity Council, our Panhellenic Council, and our Multicultural Greek Council. With all of our councils right now, we have 19 organizations in total, with about 600 students within those organizations. And again, councils are governing bodies of certain organizations. So Greek Leadership Council, also known as GLC, they are technically like an overarching governing council that supports all of the other 3 councils that we have. They are there to support collaboration, interactions. They host the very large scale programs for our community, such as the awards ceremony, such as Welcome Week events, Meet the Greeks. The other portion of their role is to really partner with our other centers on campus to enhance their experience within the organizations and really to advocate for their needs throughout various committees across campus. Our Interfraternity Council, known as IFC, we have 4 current fraternities on campus. The average membership size is 47. We do anticipate that this number will grow in the spring, knowing that there is a high interest coming in this academic year. We have Alpha Sigma Phi, Kappa Sigma, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, and Sigma Chi, who are currently recognized on campus. You may hear the word Theta Chi. Theta Chi is not a currently recognized organization on campus, and so we try to educate our students the options that they have to join for on-campus organizations. When they are on campus, they are following certain policies, criteria, things that we want them to, learn and understand, while Theta Chi does not follow any of our policies, procedures. And so we try to recommend for students not to join Theta Chi. And then we have our Multicultural Greek Council, MGC, and this council can become a little complicated, especially with our acronyms, especially with the population of students. It's a very diverse governing body. It is for our multicultural and multi-ethnic organizations, which also currently includes our Black Greek lettered organization known as BGLOs. So we have 8 recognized chapters. 2 of them are currently expanding on campus in the spring semester, and the average membership right now is around 9 members. Some of them go up to about 17. Some of them are as low as around 3 members. And so you'll see the sororities on top. Excuse me. We have 5 sororities. Alpha Kappa Delta Phi is an Asian-based sorority. Alpha Pi Sigma Sorority Incorporated is a Latina-based organization. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is our Black Creek letter organization, and Alpha Phi Gamma National Sorority Incorporated is our Asian-based sorority coming in the spring semester. And then our fraternities that we have on campus is Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. It is a Black Creek lettered fraternity. Alpha Psi Rho is an Asian-based male organization. Nu Alpha Kappa is a Latino-based fraternity. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated is a Black Greek lettered organization. And then Sigma Lambda Beta will be a multicultural Latino organization, and they'll be coming in the spring semester. So we are excited to see the growth. We are excited that they're expanding. And we do hope that there might be some more coming in the following academic year. One of our goals, so you'd notice in the previous slide, it said MGC, including our Black Greek organizations. It's only to really help them establish their chapters on campus. But right now we have 4 recognized organizations, and the goal is to create a national Pan-Hellenic council. This council is really specifically for our Black Greek organizations, and the ones that we have recognized is Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. There has been a higher interest of expanding to a few other chapters, and so we do see an excitement to help elevate the Black Greek experience on our campus. Last but not least, one of our other councils is our Pan-Hellenic Council. We have 5 currently recognized sororities on campus. And the reason why they are different, that these sororities are not cultural based, and so they fall under a different category for Pan-Hellenic Council. Our average membership size is also at 63. We have Alpha Omicron Pi, Alpha Chi Omega, Alpha Z Delta, Gamma Phi Beta, and Delta Zeta on our organization. We also do see another increase in membership size with this council. This fall semester, they did bring in more than 55 new members, which is pretty high for a fall semester, recognizing that we are deferred until our formal recruitment period in the spring semester. So given all of our 4 councils, potentially 5th in the upcoming academic year, we as an office do have requirements for them to join that they have to fulfill essentially before they join. Some chapters may have higher expectations in regards to unit count, in regards to GPA, but the minimum standard that we have, it is 12 college units completed. That can include transfer units, that can include AP units. They do need to have a cumulative GPA of 2.5. They have to be enrolled in 6 units, and they have to be in good standing with the university. So if they are unable to meet one of these 4 requirements, we will notify them directly that they have not met the expectations to join an organization. However, if they did meet those 4 requirements, for example, a different chapter may have a 2.7 GPA requirement, and so they may not be allowed to join that organization. So it really just depends on the chapters and their ability to allow students in based on their GPA and the units that they need to have required. So one of the benefits of really joining a fraternity or sorority is, the first one is leadership development, right? So we have this question like, why do we join? What's going on? What are we doing? All of our organizations on campus provide members the ability to attend regional, national conferences. They may even have the ability to take on a leadership role in their organization. So for example, I was chapter president and recruitment chair during my time in undergrad. And because of that experience, I was able to learn my own leadership skills and the ability to really communicate, to work with a group of students. It's kind of like running a little mini company. And so students will have that ability to really take on those positions and learn about who they are as individuals. Our office also provides leadership opportunities such as retreats, conferences for students to attend, and the ability for them to develop their own skills. The next benefit of really joining is the academic support. Students are here for an education, right? They are here to come to school, they're here to learn, to get the degree, and that's always the priority. And that is why we have a minimum GPA requirement, so that way they can pass and graduate. Each chapter also has their own requirements to maintain a minimum GPA. If those students tend to fall below 2.5, the chapter will make a decision to put them on some form of academic probation or things that they have to fulfill to ensure that they continue to be in good standing. The other thing is that if a chapter does fall below 2.5, collectively, we put them on an academic probation. So that way it limits their ability to host events. So that way they can focus on their academics, because that is one of our priorities as well. The other one is service and philanthropy. A lot of our chapters host more than one, I would say one per semester, a service or philanthropic event. And that could be for any nonprofit organization, either from a regional perspective, a national perspective. And again, the philanthropic can be based on funding. I know that one of our sororities, Alpha Chi Omega, raised over $15,000 this fall semester, and that is phenomenal, right? They are raising awareness for domestic violence, and that is something that we are excited about. Other folks provide service hands-on experiences. I know that one of our groups, Nu Alpha Kappa, will have a Latinx high school summit in the spring semester. So giving back to the region of San Marcos to support high school students or other students who might be interested to join in the near future when they get to college. So every chapter will have their own way of giving back to the community, which is a phenomenal way of really having an impact and to be able to learn and grow from that service or philanthropic effort. The fourth one is networking and involvement. These are all of our chapters, all of our organizations have stemmed right back from 1800s, 1900s. And so there are so many alumni that have came from their chapters. If they're not from San Marcos, they may meet another individual in Arizona or in Los Angeles, right? And they're able to network and connect with each other to really learn and engage. And that's how they are able to find an internship or able to find a new job when they graduate. So we encourage folks to continue to network when they go to these conferences and to really learn how important it is to really stay involved within your organization. The other part is fraternity story life is not the end all be all, right? We have other ways to get involved, but somehow when you join a Greek organization, you tend to get more involved on campus, on committees or other organizations. And so there's a lot of involvement when it comes to joining one of the organizations as well. And then last but not least, the fifth one is brotherhood, sisterhood, or siblinghood. Siblinghood is just a more inclusive way to say brotherhood, sisterhood. Overall, I think we want to join, well, I can't say we, I joined to find community, and I joined to really get involved on campus, especially as a first generation student. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was always driving home because I live locally. And so for me, it was to build a community and to really find a sense of belonging on campus. And a lot of my brothers from the fraternity helped me navigate situations, helped me navigate college. And we're still connected to this day, 7 years later after I graduated from undergrad. And so it is a great experience to join Greek life to really build that siblinghood together. Yatende or Kaylee, do you have anything that you want to add on some of the benefits of joining that you've gained during your time? If not, that's okay. We can save it for the student panel experience.
I can say something really
Sure.
quickly. As for the networking and then the involvement portion, I think when I became a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, that was something that I kind of overlooked. I kind of underrated it. But this year, since I joined, I've made so many connections like within other people who are in the same sorority as I am. And it's honestly mind-blowing getting to go out to grocery stores and like bump into someone who is literally a sister of mine. I think that's something that's really precious, and getting to make like a lot of waves on campus in like different types of community, like bringing that kind of service to people who are on your campus. I don't do it for my resume, though it does look nice in like the long run, but I do it mainly because like I care, and that kind of involvement is something that I really want to put into another person's life so I can inspire them eventually.
Thank you, Vicente. Okay, so our next portion of this is the common myths and stereotypes. We recognize that there are so many stereotypes or assumptions of what Greek life does on campuses. We've heard stories, we've seen it in the news. We see it in movies that sometimes is not always true, but I thought that it is a way for us to have more clear sense of what we do expect from organizations and to really debunk some of those stereotypes and myths. So something that we commonly hear is all we do is party, right? That's something that is a common thing. It's something that you tend to hear. Many of our organizations are not allowed to host parties and are not allowed to host events with alcohol based on their guidelines from their national headquarters. And so if they end up doing that, they tend to get in trouble with their national guideline, with their national headquarters, along with our institution as well. We also require our organizations to attend 3 risk management trainings throughout the semester. So that way they are able to learn and understand the risks of when it comes to hosting events with alcohol, hosting events that may have drugs, hosting an environment that's not safe for students. We want them to have the best practices when it comes to safety. And so we really require them to have those conversations with us. The other thing, if an issue does arise, we do meet with the chapter, we meet with the members involved, we touch base with national headquarters to let them know that they are not following our guidelines that are expected, along with the ordinances of the city of San Marcos. So we try to debunk this, but we recognize that it's hard to do that because that's what students might be looking for. But we want to stand and elevate our community that's just more than a party. Also, I apologize if you hear dogs barking. They're barking right now. They're over there in the living room. The second one is we always hear that you're buying your friends, right? You do have to pay for membership in any type of organization, right? I always think about Costco, right? We want to go to Costco, we have to pay for a membership to go to Costco. And so if you want to be a part of an organization, you do have requirements to pay certain fees to join. And that also varies depending on your organization. It could be anywhere from like $300 to $800 a semester, just depending on what the chapter is going to provide to the student with their experience. The money does go to host programs, to host events for students to find a sense of belonging. It provides them the ability to connect with the members in the chapter. And I also believe that the friends that you meet in the chapter do become lifelong friends. I was just in 3 weddings this past year with fraternity brothers, and it was costly out of my pocket to be there. But I believe that you're not buying friends, you're buying best friends. You're having the ability to make best friends essentially throughout your time in college. The third one is getting involved will hurt my grades. We talked about the academic criteria and the requirements that chapters might have. I think people feel like they're taking 18 credits and they can't join, or they have a really difficult major and it's probably hard for them to be able to feel connected to the chapter because they don't have the time commitment. And that is very valid, right? But in fact, getting involved tends to improve your grades, and each org does have a criteria that they have to follow, as I mentioned. If they fall below that minimum standard, they are placed on some form of academic probation with the chapter. The other thing to note is our chapters on average have a higher GPA than the average student on campus. And so we do have that expectation that they continue to elevate their grades and to focus on that as well. The fourth one is thinking about, I'm worried about getting hazed, right? We have 0 tolerance for hazing. We do not condone it and we do not allow it. Anytime a member goes through a recruitment period, we give them education around hazing and what it looks like, so that way they can report it to our institution. And every org is also required to go through some form of hazing workshop to understand that it's not allowed and to identify it as soon as possible. If hazing does come up through our pipeline of the office, we will immediately cease all activity from the organization, and we will contact the appropriate individuals to ensure that the safety of the students are a priority, and that they're not hazing any of their members as well. So these are the most common myths and stereotypes that we tend to get as they join, or are interested in joining an organization. But again, I think just the reason why I came back to work at Cal State San Marcos is that we are a unique community, that this is pretty rare in the stance of what we hear. I used to work at UW-Madison. It is a large institution, and that is a very high-risk institution. And so I'm glad to be back to a campus where our chapters, our students really do care, and they, for the most part, follow all of our policies. And we really try to engage with the students to build that sense of belonging on campus. Some of the common programs that we either our office host or chapters will host. So we do have every semester a leadership retreat for our officers that may hold a role on their chapter. It's a full day retreat, get to know each other, build community, get to know your leadership skills, and talk about different topics that are probably impacting their organizations. Every chapter will host a semesterly retreat. I know that my undergrad organization did go to Big Bear recently, and so they were able to build some of that brotherhood and really get to know each other a little bit more. Every semester we host recruitment events, probably the first 3 weeks of school. Some chapters may host informationals or other events throughout the semester. All of our chapters will host social events with each other. They may have like a cross collaboration. They'll have a formal over the weekend. It's a really great time. They're looking to enjoy college, and so that's what some of the organizations will provide. The other thing is some organizations will also host parent weekends. And so it's a great way for the parents to meet each other, to also see the great work that our chapters are doing on campus and what they've accomplished over the semester. Every spring, we do host a Greek week. It's a full long week of events that is just tailored to the students to hang out, build community. There's some healthy competition. Sometimes they get a little too aggressive. But I think it's a great way to really build camaraderie. And then at the end of the academic year, we host our FSL awards to acknowledge the students, the chapters, the amount of service hours, philanthropic funds that they've raised, and just to kind of highlight the academic year collectively. And so the important piece is how do we join, right? What's the process? And so this spring, we do start school on Monday, January 22nd. We will have our first event on Tuesday, January 23rd. It's called Meet the Greeks. It is a time for folks to meet all of our chapters, all 19 organizations, ask questions, get to meet them, say hello, follow them on Instagram, register for recruitment if it's required. And then we go straight into our recruitment period. So Panhellenic recruitment, again, it is our socially based sorority organizations. They will host recruitment that first weekend of school from January 26th to the 29th. You do have to register. There is a fee associated because you do get a t-shirt and the ability to really get snacks and water throughout your 3 days of recruitment. After that, you are given a bid to join. A bid is just a membership invitation. And then they will continue throughout the semester with their educational components. Our Multicultural Greek Council will be hosting an MGC week. So every day we are highlighting the different identities and cultures of the organizations, led off by a barbecue on that Thursday evening, February 1st. Those organizations will host events throughout the first 3 weeks of school, just kind of depending on the need. They're either recruitment events or informational events, so then to then begin the intake process for the semester. And then our IFC recruitment, which is our socially based fraternity organizations, will host recruitment from February 5th through the 9th. You also do have to register for recruitment. There is no fee, but it is hosted Monday through Friday with membership invitations to follow after that week. So definitely a lot of events to kind of look out for, and we hope that the students can also take the opportunity to really meet those chapters at Meet the Greeks on the 23rd. Kaylee or Yetunde, do you have anything to say about recruitment or intake for the spring semester? Great. Cool. Last but not least, I wanted Kaylee and Yatunde as seniors. They are graduating. They've been in the community for quite some time. They are both leaders, and it's great to work with them. I wanted to give them some time to talk about their experience. Johnny is not with us. He was unable to make it. And really after that, kind of open the floor for any questions. So Kaylee or Yatunde, whoever wants to go first, feel free to share your experience.
I could go. Hello, everyone. My name is Kaylee Sawaya, and I am the outgoing paneling president. I would love to share a bit about my experience being part of Greek life here at CSUSM. So in spring 2021, in the middle of a global pandemic, I decided to go through sorority recruitment fully online. As a first-generation American college student, I did not know what to expect from Greek life my freshman year. But now, as a soon-to-be graduating senior, I could confidently say that being a part of the Greek community on this campus has benefited my life. Not only have I met friends who will last a lifetime and built so many strong relationships, but I've had the opportunity to grow as a woman and as a leader. In my chapter, I've held positions that have pushed me closer to my dream career. I learned many important skills like time management, meeting deadlines, successfully communicating with others, budgeting, and planning events. These skills aided me to get my dream job as a wedding coordinator. The icing on the cake was that this job was actually offered to me by alumni of my own sorority. There are so many benefits that come from being a part of Greek life if you welcome all the opportunities it'll bring you. Along with building important skills and friendships, this community knows how to have fun in a safe and welcoming way. There are always events happening on campus that give you the chance to meet new people and create unforgettable memories, like Greek Week, student organization fairs, and philanthropy events. I've made some of the best memories from attending these events. Our community also gives its members so many opportunities to make a difference in the world. Many Greek organizations on campus advocate for a particular philanthropy. We all join together to support these amazing causes and change lives. Some examples are Domestic Violence Awareness, the Kindly Hearts Initiative, the Boys and Girls Club of San Diego, supporting children who experience foster care and homelessness, Sisters for Soldiers, the Arthritis Foundation, the Starkey Hearing Foundation, the American Society for Deaf Children, and lastly, Girls on the Run. These are just few of the many amazing philanthropies our Greek community supports. Thank you so much.
Yatunde, did you want to share your experience?
Yes, I would love to. So I don't know if I properly introduced myself prior, but my name is Yetunde Adebayo. I am a fourth year biology major with a minor in sociology, and I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, more specifically the Upsilon Omega chapter here at California State University, San Marcos. We had the opportunity of chartering another part of the BGLO, or the Black Greek Organizations on campus, this past spring, April 30th of 2023. And thus far, it has been so adventurous. Like, I never thought that I would have such an opportunity. I am the first vice president of this chapter on campus, and we are doing multiple events. We had a really notable event called Donuts with the Deltas. It really helped us communicate with our community in the Black Student Center, which is located in the USU fourth floor. We got to see what students were excited for the semester. Later on the semester, we had like the More You Know with UO, which is Upsilon Omega, but like hyphenated. We had that event, and it was a really good like way for us to connect with our community in terms of like physical and mental health, just giving out tips and tricks. Over the course of this whole semester, we have been pretty active on our Instagram as well, and we plan on doing more bigger events in the spring. But I will say, as a person, when I'll just give you guys this perspective in a sense. When I was a freshman, entering at CSUSM fully online, everything was closed, and I was living in my dorm. I never would have dreamed that I would be in the position where I am today as a vice president. I will say it's been a lot of hard work, and my major is not something that is easy. I'll say that it's very time consuming. So between going to classes, between going to meetings for my sorority, between me finding time to like actually do my homework and study, sometimes like I find that it is difficult, but the time management skills that I have developed in the meantime are impeccable, if I do say so myself. I don't think that I would be in this position if like I didn't join my sorority, mainly because it's provided me with so many different opportunities. There are people who are in the same sorority as I am that are in like this county of San Diego, so we do receive a lot of support from people who are in this area. Um, and I really am just appreciative of this being an opportunity for a lot of freshmen, just not even freshmen, like every single person on campus. Unfortunately, we are not open to taking freshmen, but that doesn't mean that we do not want your child. We want anybody that is willing to apply. So please don't be too scared to send them our way if you are interested. But one thing I wish that everyone can take away is that Greek life can be a little bit intimidating, but at the same time, it can be a huge opportunity for you to hone in your skills, especially your child's skills. It brings out a side of yourself that is very useful in the workforce in a sense, because you have to use time management skills. You have to learn how to do things that I never thought I would do. Now I know how to do like meeting notes and everything. I never would have expected that I would know how to do these things, but these are all skills that are very important to have, and getting them when you're still in like undergraduate, that's very important. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you both. Really appreciate it. So that kind of really wraps up the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all might have, or questions for Kaylee and Yetunde as they navigated their experiences. This slide, the first portion, has our website information. If you have questions, you can email us at slick@csusm.edu or follow us on Instagram as well. So kind of happy to open the floor.
On that note, I will stop the recording.
Thanks, Jay.
I have a